All right. Welcome, everyone, to our music roundtable discussion. I'll start by introducing everybody. To my left, I have John Prano. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. Who is an acoustic singer and songwriter. He sings alternative, folk, classic rock music. Next to him is Sarah Siegel, Associate Counsel of Digital Legal Affairs at Warner Music Group. Then I have Lon Ballinger, co-founder and former owner of Webster Hall. After that is Elisa Zuckerberg, founder of Hear It There, a media outlet for live music in the region. Adam Dorn, jazz musician, producer, and film composer who goes by the name Motion Worker. Motion spelled M-O-C-E-A-N. Then we have Shep Goodman, a multi-platinum record producer, songwriter, and manager, and he's the co-owner of Dirty Canvas Music, LLC. Lynn Gonzalez, partner at entertainment law firm GDR, and a former executive vice president of Def Jam Recordings. And Andrew Schiffman, a music and content strategist and a former MTV programming and planning curator. So we're going to start with a word association game. I'm going to say a word, and feel free to shout out the first word that comes to your mind. And when everybody feels like they're done,
The buzzer.
no buzzer needed.
I'm a little worried about it.
I'm subtle as a cry for help.
All right, here we go. Vinyl,
Record.
Iconic.
Classic.
Collectible.
Sound.
you don't have to.
Nostalgia.
Nostalgia.
Gamified.
Just,
Collectible.
there we go. Cassette tape.
Nostalgia.
Old.
It's coming back, by the way.
Troublesome.
Troublesome.
Rewind.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Splice. Iconic.
Lyrics.
Song.
Song.
Foundation.
The bane of my existence.
Controversial.
Stories.
Emotion.
Bridge.
Water.
Would you say bland?
Water.
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 Okay.
Different
Yeah.
kind of.
Worst part to play in a song.
Lost art.
Yeah.
Producer.
Therapist.
People who should be heard and never seen.
Behind the scenes.
Obi-Wan Kenobi. Sorry, I keep getting.
Home studio.
Tax write-off.
Convenience. Expensive.
Superstar.
Small.
Record labels.
Evolving.
What did you say?
Useless.
I object.
Evolving. More
Evolving.
diplomatic.
That's a good one.
Live performance.
Essential.
Community.
Lifeblood. Exciting.
Everybody keeps looking at me. I'm so bad at, like, I have no recall.
No, it's good. Music technology like GarageBand or Logic.
Democratizing.
No, it's
She
good.
works in the digital.
I don't know.
Evolving.
It's
Fun to
always
play with?
existed.
It's fun to play with. MTV.
I miss it.
Iconic.
Nostalgia. Family.
TRL.
Disappointing.
Thank you. That's interesting.
Yeah.
They dropped the ball in the music. They
Word-
should have
word
stayed with
association.
music. They should have stayed in music instead of going all over the map but I guess it was because they didn't get the ratings.
I would say taste making. At least early on, it was really
Yeah.
a taste
Absolutely.
making.
Repetitive.
Defining.
Spotify. No comments?
Versatile.
Accessible.
Yeah, handy.
Mover and shaker.
TikTok.
Necessary evil.
Gen
But
Z.
awesome.
I'm not on it. I don't
Yeah.
know nothing about it.
One-hit wonder.
Miracle.
Amazing. Yeah.
Lucky.
It's so good to get it, right? When you think about it, to go off and do
I
something.
think it's
else.
challenging. It's challenging because like once you have that hit, it's kind of hard to.
Momentum.
It can stagnate you. It comes too soon.
Grammys.
We love them.
Exciting. Controversial.
Yeah, you are. Good parties.
Overrated.
Networking.
Good for the musicians.
Community.
AI.
The future.
Inevitable.
The present.
Yeah.
Worried about the environment.
Unavoidable.
Exactly. Tree killing.
Education.
And the last one, and I'd love for everybody to answer, so take your time if you need to. Most influential musician.
You want an actual musician?
Yeah,
Influential to the world
To
or
you.
To yourself.
to you.
Oh.
Stevie Wonder.
Seal.
Pink Floyd.
Joni Mitchell.
I have no idea. There's so many, I can't even think
Okay,
of one.
name more than one.
John Coltrane.
Yes. Led Zeppelin.
Elvis Costello.
All right. Declan.
Devo.
I'd say like Pearl Jam, Allman Brothers. It's kind of weird.
The Doors.
Ray Charles.
Oh, we get
Yeah,
multiple.
go ahead.
Miles Davis.
Cheap Trick.
Cheap Trick.
Thelonious Monk.
The Cars.
Brubeck.
It's your.
Anyone have more before we move on?
Actually, I'd say Bob Dylan.
Peter Gabriel.
Bob Dylan, that's a good one.
Paul Simon.
Oh, hell yeah.
Very good.
David Bowie.
David Bowie, for sure.
I feel like I should rap for like hip hop legends. I'm gonna do
Go
like
for it.
Eric B.
Eric B. Rock
Rakim.
Band. Okay.
Waka Flocka.
Big Daddy Kane.
Chuck
No
D.
hands.
Missy Elliott.
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy.
Beastie Boys.
Yes.
I'd say Tribe Called Quest. They were different.
Bill Withers.
Oh man, that's good.
Dr. John. No, sorry.
On the other side.
Rolling Stones.
Rolling Stones.
Couldn't miss that.
Gotta say the Beatles, I guess.
Little
right?
Richard.
Forget them that deep.
Yeah.
I mean, Louis Armstrong,
Buddy Holly.
Ray Charles.
He had Ray Charles at Webster, and he came in with a 19-piece string band, and he was like an orchestra leader.
Yeah.
It was just everybody. He told them what to do, and he was really fussy.
Nice to meet you
And
guys.
he, and
Cheers.
he wouldn't play until he got 40,000.
All right. We're going to move on.
Aretha Franklin used to do the same
to
thing.
really deep, thoughtful questions here. So we're going to start by talking a little bit about Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and I'm curious as to your opinions of how their purchasing power has changed the music industry.
They're not buying liquor.
They're
They're not buying drinks in the venues. They're doing mushrooms and gummies, and that's replacing alcohol. And most of the guys that I still know in the business are telling me it's really impacting their bottom line. And I don't think there's much you can do about it for now. It seems to be, I almost think booze is going the way of cigarettes. And that it's because they've put so much, you can't have 2 drinks and go for a drive. You get caught by the police. That's a serious crime. And so when you take that stuff, and it's not bad. I'm not condemning it. I know that it's necessary, but all these things are impacting the business the way it used to be. And I've been 45 years in the business, and I saw the craziness at the beginning of my whole life in it, and then I saw it evolve to what it is today. And people, when you go to people ask for a drink. you never saw that before, you know.
Yeah.
And I think the Gen Zs are really cautious about it and really taking a different approach. And, oh, you guys drink, but we are more cerebral, you know, kind of. And they like to stay in their basements and do their thing, and you've got to kind of coax them out.
I think when it comes to music, there's obviously no record stores. They're listening to a lot of music, but their parents are probably paying for the subscriptions. I think they're saving up and buying merch and collectibles and, you know, concert tickets and festival tickets, so they're spending money that way.
Clone.
I don't think they value it though, because like they're not saving up for it themselves and buying it. It's just it's just there. They have every record, every song they've ever wanted, all the time.
I disagree. I was speaking with someone who works in the vinyl space within Warner, and he's seeing a shift now to Gen Z and Gen Alpha really purchasing collectibles, but seeing the vinyl as collectibles. They don't. And even going to CDs, because vinyls can be $24.98 for, you know, on the most basic, and then $40, $50, $60 for a collectible. And he said he's seen a shift to CDs as well. And I said, well, what do you play a CD on? And he said they don't care.
They don't. It's just based on price and that music consumption asset being a limited edition or a collectible.
Exactly. And so now they're trying to build those communities that they were seeing, you know, maybe more in the nightclub space. But they're trying to rebuild that in record stores and using that as their community that they were seeking, because they're no longer, you know, in the club as much.
And they're bringing the DJs into coffee shops.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's different kind of outlets now that are stimulating.
You don't see too many iconic bands anymore. I mean,
There's
they're
no
dinosaurs.
superstars, yeah.
Like U2. I mean, that's like the Rolling Stones are still around. They're those big iconic bands, those front-running bands.
And the ones that are playing, like Taylor Swift and the big names, are
It's
driving up the
$10,000 a
price.
ticket.
Are driving up the price of tickets.
That's that whole.
And they will pay. That's what the younger generation, they'll pay, right?
Well, there's been a wealth shift in this country too. There used to be just a few people that were really wealthy. Now there's a whole bunch of people that are really wealthy. So there's a group that they call the 1%, but probably the 1 to 10 or 15%. They don't worry about anything anymore. There's so much money. So I think that it's just, you know, it's good timing for the top artists that earn
major markets,
make their money and have a good life. And hopefully they.
Well, the interesting thing is like the concept of top artist, I think, has shifted, right? Like it's a lot harder to become a top artist.
Yeah.
There's way less superstars. There's no curation really. So because we've gotten rid of the MTVs and because everybody's listening habits are decentralized, there's very little like taste making and curation and pointing people in specific directions. So it seems hard to get anybody to rise to the level of a Beyonce or major superstar.
To that
at this
point,
stage.
like, you know, I like watching the Grammys. I haven't been there like you all go, but and then they're having the American Music Awards. It's the same Billie Eilish, Taylor Swift. It's the same people. It's like so narrow. It's like, why should I see them on this platform if I've already, like, you know, isn't there anything else?
They're wearing a different dress.
YouTube.
Oh, I just want to say something about record stores. You said there's no record stores. I think that I see an abundance in every little village. There's a used record store, and I am seeing younger. What's the next generation? Gen Z, and then the Alpha. Yeah, they are buying vinyl of the music they heard in their house when their parents were playing it. And
it's
the
still
parents
small
got rid of it.
That's
But
still,
yeah,
but it's not like
they are.
going
They
to
stop.
Tower Records when you were like
Right.
15.
It's not something
That's-
everyone has to do. It's a select few that are going that
Right.
route and doing it for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
I think to your point though, what's interesting is that there used to be like superstars and nobodies, and now there's this tremendous middle class of the music.
It's very
business.
spread out. All the streaming services. It's
Yeah.
like hard to find someone unless you hear about it.
Or you'll hear
Because
people
the-
that sold out Madison Square Garden for 2 nights and you'll never heard of the band.
never
And
heard
I
of
just
them,
think
right.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, there's a whole other ecosystem going on that I'm just.
Yeah, and there are tons.
Nice.
There are like tons of 17-year-olds making music in their bedroom, making $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a year, and they're not with labels. So there's this like middle class of that.
And
too.
we don't know because we're not on TikTok.
Yeah.
Or some of us are not.
But that's down to streaming platforms and social media allowing everyone to be a curator, a musician, and you know, you get one person liking it, they can influence an algorithm, and then through social media, that person becomes the biggest trend, sells out Madison Square Garden, and then you never hear them again.
Look at Zach Bryan. I mean, Zach Bryan started playing songs. He was in the military. Playing songs on YouTube, uploading videos.
But for every Zach Bryan, there's a ton of people. I still think it comes down to, I mean, maybe it's just me, but I think it's the songs. Those songs have to be great. If you could influence the algorithm with some little thing, but it doesn't mean it's going to translate from a TikTok hit to a streaming hit to a stadium.
I totally agree with you.
Yeah. So
It's also been really interesting to see when you talk about these generations specifically, the impact that COVID had, right? Like, they didn't get to have community in physical space, and it all became like these little online communities that were very bifurcated and separate. So I think that's caused kind of a decentralization of their listening habits and their communal experiences.
I think the kids also,
it.
at least I know from my perspective with my kids, like if we had a goal of like let's just say we were all like, we're not going to give our kids phones until they're 14. That COVID stopped that. 11-year-olds had phones because of COVID, so they were influenced by 20-second clips on TikTok. You know, my kids' generation, they don't even listen to whole songs. And now when I write songs for artists, I'm writing 2 minutes, like in the deals, like from a BA perspective. The last 3 deals I did, we had to not fight, but push to get the has to be more than 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I had to get that to 2 minutes because half the songs we're writing are 2:06.
Dude, that's like anything. Go to Instagram. Most people, if they're looking at reels, it's like 10 seconds. You're out. Like they're out. It's quick.
And you have the first 3 to 5 seconds of that reel
to keep it
really hit.
You're lucky.
Yeah.
I think the magic number is now 6. It was 7 about.
Oh, it went up?
Yeah, it was 7 seconds to capture someone's attention probably about 10 years ago, and it's now dropped to 6, probably on the high end.
And you lose it at 10.
And you're losing. Yeah.
You're 4 seconds.
What about the actual art?
Well, that goes back to the bridge question. Like, I haven't written a bridge in a long. I mean, I've probably written 3 bridges out of 200 songs in the last year and a half.
Because nobody can get to it.
We write them and then we cut them out. You know, like we leave that day and we go home. We're like, this is great. Just cut the bridge out.
All right, so you know who writes bridges?
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
She is still writing songs in classic song form. And if billions of people are consuming this, to me, it's depressing to hear what you're saying because that means that there are billions of people that want to hear this way, the way their grandparents heard it, the way their parents heard it. So at what point as creatives, because it's funny, like some of you are in the business, some of you, like we're creatives, there is a difference of people here. To me, if you're a creative, why would the technology determine the way that you make something?
Right.
Like at a certain point, there are going to be artists that force the issue in the other direction and say, a great song is a great song. Like you want to rate certain songs a certain way, and then you're telling me that you're being inhibited.
Well, I think we're learning how to do it differently. We try to write bridges, and then sometimes it just doesn't feel like it is necessary.
Right.
So we get rid of it. If the bridge is the best part of the song, it stays.
Right, and that becomes the hook.
I mean, not every song that has a bridge.
No.
Not every artist.
And then maybe it's just a musical bridge, like just mute the vocal, turn it to a musical.
Sometimes,
So we're still doing it, but the songs are getting shorter. The attention spans are shorter.
I agree with that.
Sure.
See, at MTV, probably like 2009-10, we experimented in a 90-second music video hour.
Oh, I remember
Because
that.
we could fit in more songs, but we felt like the ratings, we would gain ratings by, capturing the audience faster by just playing 90 seconds of the hook. And then we would drive people to MTV.com to see the whole video.
Did it work?
So that worked for a little bit because it was new and no one had done it before, and then it just fizzled out when really music videos started to fizzle out on TV. But we were ahead of the game, and I think for that reason, TikTok and Reels is just playing that hook. Yeah.
Can we make like a fruit on face or lettuce on teeth pact? Just because we're filming?
Yes.
I got you.
Thanks.
But I wonder sometimes if it's not just the song itself, or the bridge or wherever. It's just like if it gets tied to some sort of dance, right? Or some sort of other kind of something that triggers like the interest in that song because it fits some sort of, event or personality that allows it to shine. It's not just the song. It's what's around it, right? The story.
Well, at that point, it could be if it was used in a film a specific way,
Right.
or a TV show that
Right.
is gigantic, or
Right.
that's when we start getting into the way that people stumble upon something and get to know it.
But I think that's also just due to the way that someone touched on it earlier, that now music listening is decentralized. There's not as much curation with MTV. The radio has changed. So now you're sitting, when you used to hear a song on the radio over and over a few times a day, an hour, whatever rotation they had it on, I think it's 7 times. For something to stick in your mind, you have to hear it 7 times, and then it becomes part of your subconscious. So there, when you were watching TV, you would see a commercial 7 times, you'd remember it. You'd hear a song 7 times on the radio, hear it. You don't have that anymore now. What you do have is you have TikTok, and then there's a dance, and there's a snippet of a song for 20 seconds, and then you see that same 20 seconds over and over and over and over in different forms of content, but that's how you're starting to get it stuck. And that's driving back to the sales of that song because of the way that it's being repeated in that kind of different manner. So I think it's an interesting...
Yeah, I'm trying to influence my kids to go beyond that one song and really go and listen to the album, and I'm doing that too because I'm a sucker of singles and I listen to Alt Nation, and I like that album. I mean, I like that artist due to the single, but rarely do I go and explore their whole catalogue, or maybe they're only one album deep. So I'm trying to do that for myself, and I'm not sure if kids.
I used to make CDs at Webster Hall. I don't know if anybody remembers my music. Webster Hall Records. I was there about 1997 till maybe about 2003 when Napster came in and blew the doors off everything. And I realized quickly, because I would go to Needham and I'd buy all this music off these kids, these young people just trying to get it into America,
At Needham, you would go to the south of France.
Yeah.
Okay, you went to
I went
Needham.
every year,
Yeah.
and I would buy this music, and then I'd come back and I'd put it together. But I realized I made the biggest impact on the kids and the dance floors, or whoever would be listening to it, 'cause I sold hundreds of thousands of them. I sold nearly 2 million without a record label, just in our mixes. It's called Webster Hall Records, Trans World, the New York House CD. And I found that back then, I came out with the hook right off the bat. Well, the part that was really, and that would grab them, because I had to grab them. I had to get through the noise, and the best way to grab was so much of it that the kids were making was like this lead up to the hook. The hook was brilliant. The lead up, okay, It was like, I know what they're getting at. They want to get into it. But it wasn't working for the audience. So if I hit them with the hook, everybody, got up and started moving, and then I could sort of, I had them. At least I had the hook in them.
Think about a world of, okay, so work with me for 2 seconds. I've heard repeatedly 20-second snippets, right? And getting to the hook of a song. A world of all hook is like only subsisting on carbohydrates. You need everything else to get to the hook. That's where...
There's also something you said, excuse me, with the lyrics.
No,
when
excuse
she
you.
said,
How dare you?
When she said lyrics, and you said stories.
Yeah.
What about songs tell stories?
He mentioned Paul Simon. It's like
You know what I mean?
it's all...
And my statement
you don't
about
get
the
a
hook
story in
was
20 seconds.
That's how you
to
communicate.
grab them.
Right.
Because first of all, you got to get them. And once you get them, like I would tease them with that hook for 30 seconds, and then I'd get back into what the CD was to be.
It's a DJ technique.
different.
I know what you're saying.
It was like
It's
silence.
the ebb and the flow of but there is...
I think when you're writing pop music, though, you're chasing the current thing, whatever the genre is. Like, Bob Dylan wasn't, if he was around now, TikTok wouldn't be his thing.
No.
Paul Simon, so those artists should still exist. Maybe they do.
You have a few people stepping out and creating that next thing.
That's right.
Yeah.
Those
But
people
normally
should be-
you hear the same sound
But I think all pop music was kind of like that over the years. Like during the doo-wop era, every single song was the same exact
100%,
progression, same
Yeah.
bop,
What's popular right now?
bop,
Country.
What I'll say though is beyond just country. I mean, I
But
think
they were
right
the same
now a
changes.
lot of other genres are becoming popular, like Afrobeat or just kind of like the things that are happening with R&B and the way it's shifted. You know, people are shifting away from maybe hip hop and shifting more towards the country lane, but those two genres are also merging a little bit too,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not that everything, I don't think that everything sounds the same. I just think there's lots of other corners that we can access now that it's been kind of democratized. You just have to kind of know where to find it. So I find like you can hook me not with the most exciting piece of the song being up front, but I need a curator. I need someone to say,
Right.
give this a shot.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And then
Well,
I'll sit through it, and I will
Make
actually
your
be
playlist.
open to
So
it. Yeah, please do. I'll take
That
anybody's
that
playlist. I miss
speaks
that.
that speaks to. So like I started doing this. It's funny. You said you've been doing this for 45 years. I've been doing this for 40 years. Because I started when I was
great.
Thank you. I've been doing this when I was 16, and I remember labels. And it's funny. Like our generation, we came through. Shep and I are the same age, same like we came up at the same time. The A&R thing really fell apart. Like in the 60s and 70s and 80s into the 90s, the A&R thing were the curators that you're talking of. College
Or
radio.
radio.
I was just going to say the KCRWs of the world, the KEXPs of the world, the FUVs of the world.
NYU.
I'm sorry, NYU, the KCR. Like, no, that all, it's funny, you release records now, and I had a record a year and a half ago I put out. I don't want to monologue, but I'm just saying, like, it came out. I was number 2 at college radio.
Yeah.
It meant nothing. It was like me and like, DJ Shadow or the Chemical Brothers or like Fatboy Slim, like nothing. Crickets. So I just don't know what curation means anymore. It's like we're all in this world of it's self-curation. Who's curating?
exactly.
The algorithm?
The algorithm.
Yeah.
You broke the rule and mentioned algorithm.
Yeah,
So this is all
even now, I'm a big believer in human curation. So if
Yeah.
I have a tool that gives me X amount of songs for this playlist, I'll go in and at least massage it and give it a bit of emotion and human touch. But I mean, even in the 90s and early 2000s, we had tools that we would write in rules. You can't play this back to back. You can't play 2 females. Tempo, enter. It would spit out a whole list of songs.
So let's take that. We're starting to talk a bit about social media and some of the pitfalls. I'd love to hear more about maybe possibly and good that comes from social media and music, as well as what you really see as the pitfalls and the tragedy, I guess.
I love
social
all of
media.
it.
Yeah.
I love it. I really do. I think it's unbelievable. And like I mean, not to just jump in, but I was in a band signed to Elektra in the 90s, toured, like almost put out a record, it ripped. And then when we got dropped, it was like, here's your clipboard mailing list with illegible, handwritten fan phone numbers and addresses. Like, that was it. That's all we had. Like, we literally was like, you were out of business when you got dropped. And now it's a whole different game.
It's probably good when you get
globally
dropped.
distribute a song right now. Like, we could literally write it on my phone, upload it to SoundCloud, and then send it to downtown. Like, it's crazy. And then you get to keep all your fans organized and contact and talk to them. And it's unbelievable.
I don't know if this
I think
speaks
it's
to
the greatest
that,
thing.
but I was actually thinking about it before you asked that last question about, I just interviewed a musician who released a new single that's part of like a concept album that's coming out soon. And we were talking about technology and Spotify and releasing music like one single at a time versus the whole album at a time, and how the algorithm works. Like, it's better to release a single at a time because if it gets traction initially, that's when it gets like a lot of play or eyeballs or ears. And but if you do one album at a time, you just get that one exposure. Is that like, how does, like, when you're talking about releasing music and getting traction and getting people to hear it and getting noticed, How does that work? I'm just curious. I'm sorry that.
What do you mean? How does it work?
Like, is it a good idea? Is that how the algorithm works? How do you, when you release that great single?
I mean,
how do you
it
get
changes.
the
I think
maximize
it's constantly changing. Like last year's magic trick is not this year's magic trick. You know, there's always some new platform or app or some method. Like, you know, you always hear these like, don't do this anymore on TikTok. Don't do this and just keep.
I think though, to answer her question, I think it's about engagement, right? I mean, if you put out a really, really good one song and it's engaged and people are listening to it and sharing it, it creates this little wave, right? So that the next thing that you create is pushed out through the algorithm. It was like that with like Facebook ads when I had a business back in the day, and we would put out like a human interest. I owned a gym, so we'd put out like a weight loss picture, and it would get crazy engagement. And then the next 2 days after, whatever we ran as an ad was just hit. Right. You know what I mean? So that might be what you're saying instead of just putting it all out there.
So how does like Spotify or the streaming services recognize that? Like, how does that work? Like, how do you
They
get?
follow everything you're doing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
they're looking at when you get
So
your
metrics.
music distributed to them, you submit it a month before you release. The algorithm is watching everything you do and
But
deciding.
there is strategy to it, the way you've said, and the strategy involves building your audience before your big release, right? So if you do that based on one single and you see that you've got a quorum of people, that quorum of people will get exposure to your next single or your next release. So if you do your whole album out from the beginning, you've got to find ways to get eyeballs on that whole album, as opposed to if you rolled them out and kind of built your audience slowly, just like you would if you did a show. You know, your first show may not be your biggest crowd, right? You may have to do smaller shows and build your way up. It's the same thing. You know,
And now it's really focusing on the power of super fandom and really artists tapping into these kind of super fans, which goes back into the collectibles and the vinyls. Starting with that is that, you know, a lot of the purchasing power now of Gen Z and Gen Alpha is not even based on necessarily listening to the music, but showing how much of a fan you are. I have this collectible and I have this super rare edition, and there are Facebook groups, which sounds, you know, funny because you don't think of Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but there are Facebook groups of 10,000 young people that are there to kind of trade and swap music in that way, almost like you would with trading cards or Pogs or, you know, in the 90s. So that's just an interesting way, but because of social media, now it allows artists to engage with their fans back. You know, originally you think about growing up and you see your artists on a stage, you see them on TV, you see them, hear them on the radio, you couldn't connect with them really. Maybe you would you get the email address or
Not even
mailing
email.
it. Not even email.
I
Right,
got
phone
dropped
number.
pre-internet.
So
you know?
phone numbers, but that was the only way that you can engage with the artist. And now artists can talk back to you. You know, you can message with them. They go on live.
Sometimes they shouldn't.
Yeah, sometimes
Yeah,
it's a gift,
sometimes-
sometimes it's a curse. But
Yeah.
I mean, the idea of being able to communicate with people that are interested in you and build a relationship with them where they support you. I mean, I do that with my friends, right? If my friends say they need something, I'm going to show up for them. So if that artist is my friend, I'm going to build community for them and evangelize them amongst the people that I know. And
Good use of evangelize. Yes.
thank you guys. You guys are
I mean, if you have a song or a piece of content coming across your feed and you watch it, you don't even have to like it, it appears and other content starts appearing. So your whole For You page changes based on what you like and listen. So if you can get a new piece of content from an artist, and I found a lot of new music through my Reels feed.
Okay, so but what happens if you're listening to a song and it's so terrible that you're like, hey, come here, I have to show you this really terrible song, and then you show it to 5 other people.
You are gonna
it's
get
awful.
hit.
It's a hit. It's a hit.
Right? Like-
Now it's a hit.
They know how long you stay
That's
on
how
it.
viral.
Yeah.
Love hate is
Becomes a viral
both are
trend.
good.
Yeah.
Like you said, the 7-second thing. They know their timing, how long you stay on that video.
Yeah. It's like bad news is good, you know, it's like bad press is good
I mean,
press.
to a
like-
point, of course. If the song's terrible, then it might go viral, but it's not going to be sticky. You know?
Okay, Doja Cat with the cow
Yeah,
song.
yeah,
You remember the cow song? Everybody remember Doja?
But I think
Cow
love
song?
hate's very important.
That sounds
Especially
like,
when we're writing, we're always trying to say,
what
like,
you're
I
saying.
don't care
Some
if
of
you
it
love it or
sounds
hate it.
like
It's just so good.
As long as,
bullshit
they have
gets you to
as
the
long as
top.
there's a strong
It's
connection
attention.
to it.
It never keeps you there.
That's true. Yeah.
So it's gotta be good. Like
That's what he was
Steve Martin said, you know, when he keeps getting asked all the time, how do you get into this business? And he says, well, you gotta be so good they can't say no. You know, and that's kind of the truth of it. You know, or people would ask us sometimes how to get into the music business. They want to get in the music business, and was telling this young man here too, you got to bring something to the party. You can't anymore just show up and say, what can I do, or could you take me in? And you got to really kind of plan your life. And what you talked about social media and the power, it's true. You got to bring that to the party and know that you can contribute to this meal, that we all want to have.
And I deal with artists that don't want to do social media or TikTok and stuff. I'm like, you're like an artist getting signed in 1990 who doesn't want to be on radio. Like, you can't go do something else.
That's a sellout.
Just go do something else. Go be so good that you don't need TikTok. And I hope you pull it off. I'm just, I'm not the right
Well,
guy.
if you're really, really good, you will.
Yeah, that's correct.
But if you're not really, really good, you won't.
And there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to be that good. And
Good luck to
hope
you.
it works out. Yeah, it'd be amazing.
But you have a good point, Gia. It's like that in marketing. Like, it's not necessarily a great marketing message. I'm a marketer. It's about people remembering it. So even if it sucks,
Right.
they'll still get, like, people will listen, like, this really sucks. And then they're suddenly listening and they're making money and it goes viral because everyone's paying attention to it. They're making money. Maybe
And maybe
not
you
have
get your
lunch.
one hit,
What?
maybe you get your one hit wonder.
And I used to make a lot of ads for my club and radio ads and stuff in the day, And I always begged them for, like, put silence here. I wanted, like, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, a second. Just let it go silent. Because everybody would, they're listening, and even when they're not listening, if somebody goes silent, their ears pick up. And they want to, so you grab their attention again. So it was always really about doing little things that grab their attention. Like you said, it doesn't matter if it's bad or how bad it is. I got their attention,
But by the same token, it can be really, really good and no one can hear it. So that's a thing too, right? There's lots of really, really good music out there that no one is ever exposed to because they haven't done the tricks that they need to do in order to get exposure. So.
But you were talking about, like, how you could ruin your algorithm by listening to something that you think is terrible too
Yeah.
much. And the next thing you know, you're getting fed more music like that.
No, and it's going up the charts and
I think social media today gives fans that access into the artist's life, and I think they crave going back to the super fans. I've always had that mentality on how to serve specific content to fans, and I've worked for a lot of emerging tech companies, NFTs and blockchain, so for the last 5 years. So I'm all about how to create that fandom and collectible. So I think social media really provides that access to a fan, artists. I think fans want that backstage look as well. Any, behind the scenes content, day in the life, looks at a video shoot, so they can really feel like they're getting that special access.
Yeah, the access, the behind the scenes, I know that's huge in the Korean, the K-pop and Asia. They all love that and crave that behind the scenes, which is interesting because now that's how, you're communicating, or that all their generations are so much as digital now that you feel like the only way that you can get that special access. There's no shows like MTV Cribs anymore, but you can go on the live,
now
Instagram
the artist can monetize that.
Exactly.
Not let everyone have it, tease it, and then whether it's an OnlyFans or Patreon or buy an NFT and you'll get exclusive access that not only 100 people will get, a Zoom, an online performance, whatever it is, a meet and greet, limited edition merch, all that stuff.
And you got to kind of make yourself feel like you're part of their family.
Yeah,
you're a family. The places, they don't use it. My Bob's furniture, because he wants to be part of your family. And you're a really good friend. And I think that's a really important thing to know how to ingratiate yourself. We always at Webster Hall, everybody came in, got a ticket to come back, And that was, you're our friend. You come back now, and you start feeling cozy and want to make that place your hangout. So a lot of it is about ingratiating yourself into their culture. The people who fall in love with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez and follow every move they make and every dress they're wearing and every pair of pants. It's really because they're losers and they got no fucking family, and this is their family.
Well, that's what's interesting about it. Yeah, like
these people have become my family.
It's like one thing for the super fans to want to know everything, but there's a lot of artists that I really don't want to know as much about. I'm kind of mad that I know it, and it's ruined my fandom. Right? Like, you know, there's like Kanye West, for example. Like, I wish I knew less. You know what I mean? And that's someone that I did a lot of work with, but like, it's really taken away from the art, right? Like, we're watching. There's some trials going on now that I'll just never be able to listen to certain records to sing. Like, there's sometimes it's like it's too much behind the curtain. I just want to enjoy this art. Not all artists are wonderful people, right? Some of them are just super duper talented, and I can respect that and enjoy that. If you could just keep your,
I don't expect them to be wonderful.
You know what I'm saying?
I don't think they need to be. I mean, I don't. They should
to
be.
improve with them. They have to be my best friend. Like,
That's not their job, right?
Yeah, they're just good singers and songwriters. And
I mean, I think it is kind of their job though, to be likable and all that, but to be like when you see them in the wild, like they always say like when you know the worst thing you do is meet your idol. Because you'll be disappointed, you know.
But I mean, sometimes you meet your idol and they're amazing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've had the pleasure of meeting certain musical like idols of mine, and it changed my life. You know, you don't have a right. You know, you're gonna invoke Kanye, or
I'm just giving honest
examples. No, they're monsters. You can't be a monster at a certain point.
Well, he's got some mental things going on.
Right.
And I mean, that's not funny. That's kind of real. And it's just that it's playing out in front of the world.
Yeah. Well, that's the other side, I guess, of social media.
Exactly.
They didn't used to have that.
That's
the newspapers, the magazines.
We never saw that, right?
Yeah.
Like without.
But isn't he still got 30 million people following him, and how much is that worth?
And the media is supposed to decide back in the day whether or not we want to portray this person.
She's saying I saw it and now I can't
quick
see
poll,
it.
if you want to participate. I'd love a show of hands first as to who thinks these music idols, right? If you're putting yourself out there as someone to be followed and emulated and loved and adored, should be a good person versus it doesn't matter. So who thinks that, you know, being a good person is part of that?
I think before there's a show of hands,
Yeah.
I was saying, you know, if you look through the history of rock and roll and jazz and R&B, you know, Chuck Berry, Ike Turner, you know, these are they're really bad people.
Right.
I'm just saying, don't be that. The rest of it doesn't matter. I don't need James Brown to give me a hug. Like, he's great at what he does, and he wasn't a very good person. He wasn't Ike Turner, though. Ike Turner is the all-time. But I'm sorry.
No, I'm curious. I mean, do you think that either should be something that, especially in the digital age, where we can see and learn, unfortunately or unfortunately, way too much about people's private lives. Do you think that's important that people really think about?
I think the music is important.
Yeah,
Music is
that
important.
tells the story.
There is a line though you can't cross. You don't have to be a good person, but there's a line.
You can't be a kitty diddler.
Yeah,
but other than that, you know,
is that a technical term?
Other than that,
is that a legal term? Can I ask you?
No, other than that,
you don't.
Other than that, it's like, what are you doing?
No, in all seriousness,
you
you don't get the music that Marvin Gaye makes if Marvin Gaye is like a happy, swell guy. You don't get Sly and the Family Stone if Sly is not imbalanced. You don't get Donny Hathaway. Yeah, I mean, I'm only mentioning black artists.
Yeah, I'm noticing that.
Yeah, but you don't get. I mean,
Yeah, but you're mentioning the blues. I mean, really, like rhythm
Yeah.
and blues, like that's what the foundation of music is, really.
But look at Taylor Swift, for example, who I think goes out of her way to do kind things for people. I think she's an excellent role model.
So we see.
It's very curated,
Well, we see,
right?
it is curated, and it is what we see. I mean,
Right.
according to her songs, she's had the worst luck and love ever on the planet. But she's really created this persona that's hopefully real, right? Of being kind and being a good person. And, you know, I do think that has partly helped her following.
It's consistent with her
I don't
brand,
think
right?
you
So I
have to
think
be
that
a
makes
good
sense, yeah.
person, or you don't have to necessarily go through struggle or heartbreak. But yeah, the line is that you don't be a monster. But it's interesting when you're a celebrity, and I'll speak to this because Lynn would know. But from the legal perspective, for defamation, to bring a defamation case against a celebrity or to win, if you are a celebrity or a public figure, you have an extra level. You have to show actual malice, which is not an element when you are a normal or someone who's not in the public figure or a public figure in the public eye, because when you do step into that role, you realize that your life is going to be put on display. Right. That is part of your job. We all have different jobs that come, there are various components of our day job that you understand that when you're signing up for this type of job, it comes with X, Y, and Z. So I think that when you're in the public eye, you realize it comes with X, Y, and Z. And so it's not that you have to be the Taylor Swift and you have to be the bubblegum pop princess every single time, but to not use your platform to be monster, as you were saying, or be on the extreme other end of it, knowing how much influential power you have. I think that is a component of the job.
Well, what I noticed, I watched thousands of really top folks come through our place, and over the years, and it wouldn't matter black, white, or whether it was musicians in general they're different. They're not like the rest of the people. There's things going on inside their heads that make them make those noises and sounds and come up with those little hooks and lines. And there's got to be kind of an understanding and even a little forgiveness to it, to say that's what this is what we're, this is why we like them. This is why we're fascinated by what they do. I had the good fortune to know John Denver, and he had a bad rap, but he was a sweet, good man, and the man I knew, and to see him and to hear him talk about his good fortune. He was a humble guy, and that's when it was one-on-one, two men having drinks together and talking, but we know that he had to go off sometimes to make those kind of songs that he was making and get to that level.
He doesn't hurt other people in that process. I think that's what you said, crossing the line. Where it affects
he did, but he didn't. It wouldn't like he did it deliberately. Right. It wasn't like he was. Don't take it personal. I learned in my life when I dealt with a lot of emotion and a lot of challenges, and I always knew, don't take this personal. This is not about me. This is their issue, and I got to deal with this and manage this issue. Mm-hmm. So a lot of everything was really trying to understand that other person, and I think that's the way it was with musicians. They've done studies on them, and like 72% of them are dealing with depression and angst and all kinds of little things that are bugging at them, and that's why they can go in and do what they do. So.
But I think that's a generational thing too. Like you bring up generation, I think that our judgment is dependent also on our perception of our age, or like maybe you're more forgiving because of your experience. I don't know if Gen Zs are as forgiving. Like if someone that they cancel culture. It
comes with age.
It was cancel culture. As soon as you hear something that someone did, they can
do
write
a
the
wrong
best
post.
song. Right.
You post something that ends up ruining their careers, or.
I mean, I don't expect artists to be wonderful people. It's great if they are. I expect them to be authentic to who they present to be, at least as much as I'm going to see. But I also don't expect CEOs and bankers to be wonderful people, right? I just don't watch them on Instagram all day, so I don't know as much about what's going on in their lives. But I'm sure some of them are terrible too. You know what I mean? People are horrible sometimes. Some people are great.
The quote? There's a lot of terrible people in jail, and there's a lot of terrible people not in jail.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same for athletes.
Athletes
aren't showing behind the scenes as much as musicians are, and it's the same thing.
And it's different for each artist.
Well, the only thing we don't tolerate is violence and stuff like that because people get hurt. But I think that the artist the musician in particular is probably the only human on this planet that's different. They got something going on inside them. I know that surgeons and mathematicians too are belonging in that category. But to make music and to make those hooks that we all listen to and love is
Picasso wasn't nice. Jackson Pollock wasn't nice.
I think if we love the music or the art of any art, we forgive them. Yeah. I mean, you think of Michael Jackson's the show on Broadway. People were buying or still buying music or seeing the performances because they love the music, they love the art.
And one thing I found about America and the world, I'm a Canadian, and one thing I found about America after being here for so long was they forgive. There's forgiveness, you know. As long as you are willing to say you're sorry or you made a mistake, there's forgiveness, you know, and we should all try to.
I still think it's generational. Not everyone forgives.
How many rock and rollers, like how many rock stars were saying, "I'm sorry for that"? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah. I never heard David Lee Roth
I think John was generation.
Go find Axl Rose.
I think when we were younger and you wanted your rock stars to be
rock stars.
Kind of attracted you to
I
it,
don't
didn't
want.
it?
That's what it is. And now we can look back in Monday Morning Quarterback, all these things, finding out that they're immoral people or whatever. But like, I don't know. I think it goes with the genre. And a lot of the pop artists potentially are just singers. They're not necessarily authentic artists.
Yeah.
So I don't really care. Like I don't really expect them to be anything. They probably like their music.
Singing other
But if
people's
somebody's
songs.
a great lyricist, I like to think that their lyrics are authentic in some capacity, whether they're, you know, just imagining it or if it's they're living it.
Right.
I think that plays into it. You know?
Sure.
So I'm going to slightly switch the topic just a little bit. Elisa brought up something a little bit earlier that I wanted to touch upon a bit more, which is the concept of instead of releasing an album and telling a story, right, where you start off with the tale, right, and you get to the conclusion by the end of the album, there's the trend to release one song and then wait a few months and release another and release another. And while I think we probably all understand the algorithm that's best for the algorithm, how do you think it impacts the artist, the concept of being a true musician, right, and telling your story? Is it still possible with this slow release? And what about people, our friend, who have an album where releasing one song may actually kind of confuse people a little bit because you need the context and you need the album to really understand?
I guess I don't find a lot of that anymore. I think I feel like those artists can still do that. But to me, we don't need some. Like if you're putting out a plan, if you have a plan to put out 6 songs every 6 weeks, one song every 6 weeks, and it's going to waterfall into the next one, and ultimately it equals an EP or an LP or whatever. I mean, that's great, but we also just like put hooks up on TikTok and stuff, and like see if like this. We didn't even write the whole song sometimes. Right. Just like, oh, this is so good, you should make a post with this tonight. Let's see if it like while we're finishing it, maybe it takes off or not. You know?
Do you enjoy doing that as an artist,
Sometimes
or would you prefer to
it
see if
depends
the
on the
song
project.
plays
It
out?
depends on the
you know?
project, and from a BA perspective with the labels, it's also a little tricky.
Yeah, because now you put out something that's unclear.
Yeah, or like again, like another thing, like on a deal we did recently, there's always this catch-all. Like during the term, anything you create or write is part of ours, even if it doesn't come out. That stuff has to come out, or else we can't give you the benefit, the labels the benefit of the doubt. Like, if I'm hiding music or not putting it out there because of that, you know. But it is tricky for writers.
Should the producer of that snippet get paid?
Yeah, well, that's the tricky part. Is the writers. The problem with me on the producer side, as a producer, it's really annoying when the artist takes a thing we wrote, puts it up, and then it doesn't perform, and now it's burned. I can't use it. So there's that you know, from an artist perspective, I think it's great if you write your own music or you have a team that's cool with doing it that way.
Well, I think
you
also
put the music out.
Any one song or a music video can produce a dozen pieces of short form content.
Right.
So that's just for one single. So you really get to know the artist's brand and the song and their songwriting process or their visual creation, whatever, from just releasing up to one single. And you can do that for 3 singles before you release the whole album. Yeah. So if you're smart and you have a good team, you should hire me. But also, it's about releasing little short snippets of video.
So even if you want to tell a story, are you saying that you have to tell it in a way that you can release it still as a single or as a short snippet, that the creative process is maybe a little bit stymied by this format?
Or you need to find another hook, another way to kind of bring people into it and to get your attention on the full project, while still, you know, being able to break the pieces apart. But you could release it as a whole project, right? You could release it initially as a whole project and then release singles that you're actually going to work,
Is
right?
it like catchy
Put
trailer?
campaigns around
It's
singles.
traditional.
Totally, yeah.
It's like a catchy trailer for a movie, right? Like a couple little.
but historically, once an album came out, if it didn't perform, it was over. The stores pulled it off the shelves. It couldn't be bought anymore, and now it lives out there forever.
Yeah, you can have
So,
a
like,
campaign around
Although
it.
historically records would come out, and sometimes, like in the 70s and 80s, like labels would work something.
Yeah.
And they would get to a third single, and every once in a while, like a third single would pop.
Totally.
And you know, my father produced an artist named Roberta Flack. I don't know if you guys know
Yes.
Roberta. Okay,
Once or
she
twice.
just passed away. The first 3 records that they made with her didn't sell at all, and then they had the idea to merge her with another artist at Atlantic named Donny Hathaway.
Yeah.
That record sold. Then everybody went back and rediscovered the first 3 records. Then they made "Killing Me Softly," and it exploded. So
That's
it's
still
that can still kind of happen.
I see
you
that
know.
happening a lot.
And it's
Labels
great.
going back to an old single.
Yes.
A year later,
Yes.
I think like
So to continue
You
answering
find
your
bands that
question,
have been dropped already.
yeah,
Didn't
And
that
they're
have,
massive
didn't that
band
happen
now
with
songs blowing
Springsteen?
up.
Yeah.
Didn't Springsteen make like 2 albums, and it's like
Yeah.
the third one was what really put him on
the
map?
classic thing with labels and artists that has vanished is that you would sign someone, and quite often it would take till their second or third record for something to happen. You developed artists. I shouldn't be looking at you because you are an artist.
Yeah.
But that was
and
the
then-
role of production
Yeah.
companies, and their labels
Well,
would have partners that were actually given bandwidth to incubate artists and
Right.
develop them to a certain
Not in
scale
the
until they
70s.
were able
That's
to
later.
develop.
Yeah, it got more nuanced and more overly complicated. Labels would sign artists and would say, "Hey, we're going to continue betting on you, and by the 4th record, if it's not happening, you're dropped."
But
You
it
wanna
still
pop
happens.
too.
It still happens. Chapel Roan dropped.
Yeah.
Well, she was dropped.
everybody-
Where was she signed?
I think Atlantic.
She was
Yeah.
dropped from there.
But I-
Yeah,
but-
but was that one of
but on
those
the flip
TikTok
side-
deals where it just didn't
But
work?
on the flip side, Charlie XCX has been with us for 10 years,
Yeah.
and look at her. She's just had an
It-
amazing year. And
There
everyone-
should be
she's
more
not even a
examples
new.
of
I
her.
mean, it's
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
Julian
was her
Danetta.
year. She's been around
But a lot of it's been built
Noah
around her
Kahan's on his
personality.
Yeah.
album.
Yeah.
But it's
Stable
still
did-
presenting
Stable
herself
wrote
to
music
be-
for 10
It
years.
still happens when it's that good. And those
Right.
people are
Well,
not
that-
at the mercy
But
of
she's
what you're
always
talking
been
about.
like that. It just
They're
took
just playing
10, you know,
lowball,
took
and they'll
a
play-
decade
they don't
for
have
her
to
to
put out
really
a
get.
big
So
Yeah.
to answer your question about
Yeah.
releasing things and the context of a story and an
They
album
always
and
tell
all
the
this,
difference when they come in.
it also depends on the age of the artist. Like last year, Peter Gabriel
Like,
released an album. He released like 5 songs over the course of like 6 months, and then dropped the record. Of course, he can also go on the road and sell out venues all over the world. But it's like, hey, I'm at this point in my life. This is how I'm going to do this. I think it's contextual.
I think the artist development's up to the artist.
Yeah.
That's one thing. I feel like the labels lost the keys for like a decade. The artists kind of figured out this other way to do it,
Yeah.
and now the labels are kind of reclaiming it. They have their access to the upper parts of Spotify and all that, and the bigger
Yeah.
playlists. But the artists are able to do the development themselves, and you can put songs out, and if it fails, nobody cares, nobody knows, nobody
But
drops.
how do you? But that's to counteract that. I think that's the role of the labels now because there is so much content. I mean, the platforms are all getting flooded with so much
They're
content.
flooding it with their own AI
Right.
generated content.
But that's why I think
Yeah.
the labels actually are having a bigger role now because they're able to help curate and get those artists
But
to stand out.
he nailed something, and I'm not attacking the labels. But when you sit on your hands for 10 or 12 years, you lose the talent that actually knows how to find talent. It becomes a non-thing anymore, and there
It's
is
just
a
different
beauty
thing.
to
There's no artist
curation.
development.
Yeah.
A&R guys used to be like much more creative, and they were
Now they're a lot more data-based.
Now
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
database,
yeah.
and that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the deals are like arbitrage deals now almost.
But
this
I
artist
think
looks like they're going to make
musicians
$5
have
million.
to
We'll give them
have,
two.
a shtick. They have to have a show, you know. If they want to really do well, if they think they're with a voice that's equal to everybody else, like you were saying, there's not the iconic acts anymore. There's all this middle stuff. Then you better do stuff that makes you stand out, you know, and it makes you interesting for people to go see. It's show business.
I
They
think-
use that word for a reason.
This is not like a general thing, but I was gonna say like the nature of the deals, I think says a lot because like when you signed someone when they were 17 and had nothing, you were able to do deals where you owned catalog for 50 years and 5 album
Taylor
deals.
Swift is that
Yeah, but
perfect
you that
example,
the
right?
labels did the work back then to like earn that in some way, and of course you still at the end of the day you still want the artist still wants it back, but now it's like 7-year license, 50-50, 70-30, like it's because these artists are already so far ahead by the time they get to major labels for the most part. many cases.
He has to go.
Sorry,
The-
so
the
great to
talent's
talk to all of you.
been
Really nice to
See
meet
you
you
at
all.
the
See you at Good
spot.
House.
Yeah.
June 12th.
June 12th.
I
Gotcha.
do.
I'm sorry, but it was
That's
a
my
great
day.
conversation. It was really good talking to you.
I don't know if you're going to bring
Where do you
it up.
live, by the way?
I-
Katonah.
John.
Right on Huntville by KS.
Yes,
Right
it's
in
nice
town.
meeting you.
Nice meeting you as well. Nice
I
meeting
want
you.
to talk about AI.
Thanks for having me, guys.
AI.
I do. I think so. Our mutual friend, three of us, Andromeda, who couldn't be here tonight, was telling me a story recently. So she's a jazz musician, and her father-in-law called her on the phone and was like, "I just heard this really incredible artist on Spotify. Thought she was really great. Have you ever heard of her?" And she gave the name. He gave the name to Andromeda, and she also hosts a jazz radio show every weekend on Sirius XM. So she kind of knows who's around, right? And she said, "No, I've never heard this name. Let me look her up for you." And she Googled and could find nothing. No website, no social media, no anything. But the music was written well, right? Like it followed the format of a song. Everything was written, and it sounded fine, like it sounded good. But this artist didn't actually exist. So besides the fact that AI can pull away money and everything from artists and labels, we now have this problem where I find an artist I really like and I want to go see them live and I can't because AI created them and they don't really, there was a picture of her and everything, but
Yeah.
she wasn't real.
That's the beginning. I don't know what that's gonna be like in 30 years, but right now it's still this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would
Curious-
love to hear the song too, because she has somebody.
There's I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say there's
I'm throwing that out there as the start of this
Yeah.
conversation about AI and how it's changing and impacting the music industry and the fans.
Yeah.
Really.
I was going to say one thing that one example of what you're talking about is that I haven't used AI to write songs yet personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time I'm in a session, someone's using it, and I'm like, that sucks. Turn that off, whatever. But we do use it for vocals. Like if I'm singing a demo and I'm like, oh, dude, I'd rather this sound like a female artist. Can we go into the AI app? And a lot of these AI apps, you could take my voice, turn it into a female artist, right? For example, a lot of the apps now have this thing where those AI models were built by real people. So it could be a guy or a girl who built this AI model, and there are apps where you could go send the song that you're using their AI voice for that you wrote to the person who's the AI person, and if they like it, they'll go, yeah, you could release it. You could release it on my Spotify page. I have 350,000 monthlies, blah, 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 blah. They get 30%, you keep 70%. Complete avatar driven. But you can actually release your music with this AI voice of these artists, and they're building their own profiles. It's crazy.
The social media, there's like influencers.
But isn't there
I hate that.
isn't there a human behind inputting how they want this, song, like how you want it to sound?
Yes, you're using
almost a futuristic. I'm not saying DJs don't produce music, but you're creating something electronic.
Right. It's a prompt. Though.
Well, I don't have a
It's
problem
a
with
prompt,
AI.
but
I don't think
sparse as well. The prompt could be make me a song that's similar to Billy Joel's.
Yeah.
Second
Right.
album.
I think that's going to
That could be
take a big
prompt,
part of it, though, right? I don't have a problem with AI. I don't think mathematicians
tool.
feared the calculator. You know what I mean? I think it's a good tool to use in that capacity.
I agree with you.
But I do think that should be part of the legality of the whole thing going forward. If your prompt should be open source, and if you said make this more like that Billy Joel song, then cool, clear that. You know what I mean? I feel like the open source, they're gonna have to open source some of the prompts. I think at some level, or at least have them be subpoenaable, whatever, if that's a word.
But
I think the
doesn't
way
it
that
doesn't
you were
matter.
using it is amazing, and it saves you a lot of time and energy. And I use it on the back end of the industry, like social media copy, and
Thank you.
just to kind of
Gee,
get a.
thanks for having me. It was great, guys.
Yeah, nice meeting
Really
you.
interesting. Thank you.
Isn't there risks though of using AI, given that it's human input? If you say Billy Joel, there might be a phrase or some sort of melodic theme that might be taken. There's risk.
Yeah, and there's some.
Actually, and a lot of these interfaces, like when you type in I just messed around with one. I'm trying to remember the name.
It doesn't let you do that. Sometimes.
It doesn't let you.
That's right.
Like I was like, okay, right. I want a song, a jazz song that's like feels like a Weather Report song that Miles Davis is playing on. Like totally two artists that never worked together. And it just like was like, no, right, we can't do it.
Yeah, they want a lot of the
some are ethical.
Some are ethical,
but some
are
are
not.
not. Yeah.
But then there are also AI. There are applications like Moises where I put in. I put in a Roberta Flack song this morning, and I got 20 tracks spit out to me: the bass line, the hi-hat pattern, the percussion. Like, I have access to every split
Stem.
from. It's beyond stems. It's splits. It's like not groupings of things.
I think people can tell. I saw this crazy thing, and don't quote. You might have to take this out of it, but because I might be really wrong. But Rick Beato is this.
I love Rick Beato.
Yeah, so I saw this clip. I swear, unless I dreamt it, he says his kids. One of his kids is like a musical genius.
Perfect
you ever see
pitch.
the perfect pitch thing he does when he was like 5? He hears AI. He said his dad will play something in the other room. Dad, why are you listening to AI?
You'll hear
he
the
knows
granual, like
the way we used to tell the difference between like digital and analog. There was like a moment where like people could do like savants could be like, oh, okay.
Who is
they
he?
can literally tell.
He does. I mean, you can talk about it. He's he's this amazing musician, but he dissects songs, and he'll go into the stem. He'll get the stems. I think originally sometimes from the record labels and like ask and like kind of like separate them. So I mentioned Seal as one of my and Kiss from a Rose is my favorite song.
He was on that.
And he did an amazing dissection for like 20 minutes. He got Seal on the phone.
Oh, is he on YouTube? Is he?
he's got millions.
Yeah, he's an older
Greatest
guy.
pivot
An
of all
older
time.
guy.
He speaks
Rock
to
producer guy,
Yeah,
pivoted into
We'll
this
have,
thing,
like,
got it
jazz
music.
early on
Yes,
YouTube, killed it, had like
They're
10 million
fun.
followers, like,
Yeah.
something shit crazy. But I mean, look, AI is not going anywhere.
No,
And if
no.
you use it right, I mean, look, even before AI, like Splice, I don't know if you know what that is. Like I was thinking about this the other day because we were talking about AI, and like, if you take something off of Splice that's public, and then it becomes the hook of your song, and then it blows up. Does that mean somebody else could use that hook because it came from Splice? Like if on my song "Best Day of My Life," if the banjo riff in the beginning that was taken off of Splice, it wasn't. We played it, but if it had been, does that mean like Toyota could go to Splice, get that same sample
Depending on the
off of
license
Splice
you
and use it
purchase,
in the commercial?
absolutely, yeah.
Even
So
though
yeah.
I've already kind of made it a bigger.
It depends on the license that you acquired. But
Right,
it's a
so
sample,
all of
it's
those
not
things.
exclusive.
Yeah, that's right. So I think that was like the first step of it. And
But
now we
that's
got
anything.
into
You can sample. I mean, you can sample. You can sample songs. You can. I mean.
Yeah,
if
pay
you
for them.
Pay for it. Yeah. I mean, but
But if
it's anything-
AI came
You
from
bring up a really good question because with the sample CDs back in the 90s, all of those drum breaks are from James Brown records, and they never.
A lot of people got sued for that.
Yeah, well, no, and a lot of people also
probably didn't.
never got paid for that and got the Amen break, the Apache break, like all the James Brown drum breaks.
Well, to be clear, we did not use Splice. I was just thinking about it.
I use
because,
Splice all the time.
Sometimes a musical
I love
hook.
it. Yeah, and I don't care.
Hook does
It's
do
a
that.
Morocco
You
pattern.
can go reach out to Splice and negotiate a license as well for exclusivity.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Yeah, so after the fact, you go, hey, since I kind of own this one now, or
Or
put it
even
to the
before,
market.
like the
Before,
first year, you can do
Yes,
that.
that's
I
first to
think that-
market too, right?
I think that leads perfectly into my next question, which is how do artists today, right? We have all this AI technology, we have Spotify, we have TikTok. How do they protect their intellectual property, ranging from their name, their image, their likeness, right, and even their voice? How do artists, can they do it, and how do they go about it?
Your voice, I mean.
The voice is the contentious one in
Yeah.
the moment, right? So that's what we're, advocating for lots of legislation to protect against sound alikes and the integrity of your voice when you're, like there's a lot of AI legislation and lobbying happening right now exactly around that, and there's been certain things achieved on state levels, like Tennessee has an act where, the Elvis Act, where you can't link someone's voice, you can't inappropriately attribute someone's voice in it, right?
Yeah.
Other states do, but there's no kind of federal overarching legislation, which is a problem. People are working on that, but you can protect your name, you can protect your copyright, copyright exists when something's created, so your music is actually protectable. It's just the kind of sound alike area that's a bit gray.
Yeah, but you can license your voice. So the estate of James Earl Jones licensed his voice for Darth Vader for do it. Yeah. So you can
Just about protecting against.
You totally can.
About protecting against people that sound alike.
Yeah, I mean that's the biggest.
Does Siri and
Yeah.
I think artists are going to create AI models of their own voice, and then it's going to determine the price they get paid for the feature.
Well, there are companies that are doing that now.
Yeah, like it's like I want 50 grand to be featured on your bridge, and the guy says I only got 20. He goes, cool, use my AI. I don't have to come to the studio, and he'll allow them to use it. They might even make their own and control that part of it. But I mean, I think these are just stupid examples.
The estate of Morgan Freeman will make money off of voiceovers for eternity.
So let me ask you a question. When that happens, at that point, we've given up on any sort of connection with our artists, right? Because at that point, you don't, whatever you're getting, you don't know if they said it or if someone else made them say, you know, and that.
Probably. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It's very crazy.
I mean,
But I mean, still, I mean, to answer your question in terms of, there are many avenues for artists to register their compositions, and there are PROs in this country. There's really, there's
yeah, but
actually
the
four of them.
digital stamp on music, copywriting is the easiest thing in the world.
Copyright exists upon creation.
Music
Yeah.
is just like
So
a,
should
it's
any, any artist at any level of caliber, if they're putting something up on TikTok or Instagram, even if they're not really famous, maybe they're a high school kid who just composed something with their ukulele or whatever, should they be copywriting that? Should they be protecting
I
that?
don't think you have to, no.
I used to
You can
mail
just
myself in the
prove that it existed
put
on
out
a
a
certain
stamp
day.
on it, and not
Yeah.
like on a CD or a cassette in an envelope that I haven't opened.
You can't avail yourself to some additional damages that would be allowed if you were to register with, for federal protection. There's additional damages you're allowed for registered copyrights.
Right.
But the copyright exists and you can protect your work just
Right.
as long as you can prove it existed.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and most digital
Yeah.
recordings have a timestamp.
Totally. I was just gonna say that the thing I learned from like the very beginning is like you write a song. If you work with other people, you figure out your splits and you register with ASCAP or BMI, or if you happen to be, really successful there, GMR or whatever, but you set up a roadmap for your work and agree on your splits. Splits before hits.
I haven't registered a song that hasn't come out, like an unreleased song that was registered. I don't even think I've ever done that.
Yeah, no, but a lot of people have.
But
Yeah,
I
I
do
know.
think when you
Happens all the time.
when you are on the flip side of that, if you do become a popular artist and you don't I'm not even talking about your music anymore, but you're that all of a sudden come out with a perfume line and you come out with merch and you start coming out with things then to build your brand, but then all of a sudden you're gaining traction in that space and you don't register, all of a sudden now there's dupe culture and there's people are totally okay with knowing that they're buying a fake or they're not buying and if you haven't registered your trade, this is from the trademark perspective, if you haven't registered your mark, somebody's out there flooding the market with stuff that's not yours, it makes it really difficult for either you or your art label or your management or whoever is going to help you enforce your copyright or your trademark to get those rights back. So it's important for artists to stand up for themselves and kind of advocate for themselves and register their marks in those ways.
And for those 15 and 16-year-old, those young producers and those young artists that are just kind of creating things, if you create them with other people, I totally agree. Do your split sheets and just stay very organized and archive stuff, because you never know what pops from now 10 years from now.
Yeah.
You don't even know who you created with or where the files are or that it even exists. So it's important to create a catalog for yourself and stay organized so that
Nothing is worse than something coming out and finding success and you don't have the roadmap sorted out. You're just going to waste money on lawyers, and you're going to.
I mean, lawyers are a very valuable
No.
part of the ecosystem. You should definitely
You're going to
money
spend.
on
We share a friend that became one of the biggest songwriters in the world. We didn't have our splits worked out before a song that was a hit, and it cost both of us a lot of money to fight over 8%. Just don't do that. It's a waste. I learned the lesson at a very young age. Don't do that. But it's important.
Write down, sign it, put it in a file.
Everybody that worked on it, sign it. So this is your share, and file it away. Send yourself a copy of the song.
At least have an email. Email chain, text, something.
And don't delete that email account.
Or a napkin. Be 7 napkin.
It's actually really important as the music is like democratized because people are creating at such a fast clip. You don't even know what you have. Like people send out beat packs and they don't even remember that they made that beat. You know. So.
Well, I have so many records that I produced years ago before the internet that I'm not even, like, sometimes I listen, I'm like, I don't even remember. I remember this band. Did I do this? Like, did I work on this record? Like, maybe they redid it. I can't even tell. And now it's all on Spotify. But these are bands that never got deals. Like 94, 96, I did the record. They never got deals. They broke up. And then one of the dudes, like 8 years ago, was like, "Oh, let's put it on Spotify." I'm like, "Oh, cool! It's got 7 million streams cumulatively now. I don't even know." And let me get like my lawyer from '93 on the phone. Like, he still has like a box. He's like, "Yeah, I sent that to your old address." Like
Joe Serlin.
Yeah, exactly. There's so many guys. But now it matters. Like, I built during COVID, I built a royalty portal. I co-founded a company, and it was all about that pain point of like all of this music that's out there that's limping its way to millions of streams that ordinarily, historically, would have been pulled off the shelves, you know? And then you didn't really care about those things, but now I got hundreds of songs that are, you know, I'm owed $80 here, $30 here. I mean, you have 100 songs where people owe you $30 a month for the rest of your life. Yeah. You know, it's like that's
in your kids' lives.
In my kids' lives, yeah. So I started thinking about all that, and we built this portal and sold it and all that.
That's awesome.
So I have a couple more questions, but I'm gonna read them to you and then pick one, and then we'll wrap it up.
Sure.
Because I feel like you may.
Because we got to go to King Kong.
Yes.
Is that in the game plan?
I've never not gone to King Kong. I'm just saying right now, it is.
10?
I've never driven past it.
10? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the most local part of this whole thing.
I had to bring it around somehow.
Okay, so one of the topics is the role of environmental awareness and sustainability in the industry. Another topic is the high turnover rate of artists these days. The third topic is the current M&A trends in the music industry, like consolidation, catalog purchasing, that sort of thing.
Cool.
I like that one.
I
don't think anyone else.
No, I like the last one for me because the sustainability thing, I don't know how to
The
speak to that.
sustainability thing, the AI.
It's
is
horrifying.
One topic on it, so.
But then there are artists like we were talking about Dead & Co. I mean, that is key to that. If you look at any of the merch that they do, Grateful Dead in general, they've built not only just the music, they've built a whole iconic artistry around their merch. Alice and Olivia came out with, they have all of these different things that kind of transcend the musical sphere, and they are to the nth degree concerned about the environment. So they make sure that in all of their merch deals that they are working with like ethically sustainable factories and their products, and they even down to the dye. So I mean, it may be the outlier with them, but that's definitely. I know if Andromeda were here, I know sustainability and is really important to her as well. So I do think that that is an important component to the music industry as well.
You're talking about merchandise itself, but how about the AI? It takes a lot of environmental factors, right?
I mean, it just
the servers.
So much electricity to just it eats trees. I mean, it's just
a million songs a day coming out or something now, right? Spotify.
So current M&A trends is the topic that most of you are interested in?
Sure. I mean, it's affecting.
In what capacity? Like what? Give me. Sure.
Catalog purchasing, consolidation. What are your thoughts around how?
I will speak to the catalog transactions. I think it is a neat opportunity for artists to have the opportunity to cash out and get a lump sum payment when many of them might not otherwise have the opportunity to see a lump sum of money, right? Like there's some people whose catalogs are spinning off just enough to enjoy a life, right? So I worry about some of these people because I want them to continue to maintain that income stream, but also, people are adults. If they want to aggregate that money and make a big investment, I think it's nice that they have the opportunity to do that. You don't always have to sell. You can loan against your catalog. You can sell or transfer part of your catalog or loan against part of it. So I think there's a lot more financial options that are useful to artists at a time where you have to do a lot more on your own. So you can access some funding and maybe give new life to your catalog through a company that maybe knows how to kind of reinvent it or find those pennies that may have been left on the table. Because a lot of times it's just that, these companies are buying these catalogs not because they're going to reinvent the music. They're just going to audit and double check to make sure that the revenue is being collected properly. So, if you have someone standing next to you and you've sold half and the other half is maintained by you, you benefit from whatever uplift they provide, and that could be cool too.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a time and place for it, and look, there's probably going to be like predatory versions of it out there, and that's why they created the writer share in the first place at some point, right? Exactly. But I do think if you're, I'm just going to make this example. There's plenty of examples, but like if you have your own personal reasons for why you're doing it, and you're at like a certain age, you're getting ready to retire, you want to take some money off the table, blah 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 blah, or you want to diversify, like maybe you just feel like this project does, there's like just so many different reasons, but I do think the timing is crucial. Like doing it too early is probably not a good idea. There probably should be some sort of a waiting period in there, like before you're eligible to do it. Maybe I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that still have to be sorted out. I think I was going to say something else, and I just spaced on it.
I've just heard so many nightmare stories about the too early thing. Like my uncle was a songwriter in the 50s, and he wrote like Viva Las Vegas and songs for Ray Charles and Save the Last Dance for Me, all these classic like evergreen tunes. And on his deathbed, he was like, I don't know what you're going to do in this business, but if you ever sell your publishing, I'm coming back from this. He was on his deathbed, and he said, I'm going to strangle you.
Yeah.
And it's time. Because he found ways to sell his publishing and get it back, and I'm talking like in the 60s, like we weren't even a thought, you know what I mean? And I just that the business has gotten so much more nuanced since then. It's even more crucial that the timing is correct, because if you don't do it at the right, we have friends that have done it.
I think it's a different type of sale that's happening.
It's a much
These
different
people are
type
getting
of sale.
20 multiples. They're getting they're getting entitlements on top. Like there's so many. It's so different than back then, like losing it in a poker game or something.
Well, he lost some of his publishing in a poker game.
That's what I mean.
I'm
like,
not even joking.
that is not happening. That still feels. It's probably so illegal at some perspective, right?
So illegal. But there's this thing.
There's also more revenue streams.
There's lots of things you can sell.
But I know people that are
sell everything.
No, exactly. It's illegal. In certain countries, also you can't sell your writer share in France.
The revenue streams have changed too, though. I think master income is the new publishing. Personally, like historically, like historically, like I said, like even if you were a hit artist, like even if you were like a big artist, if you had like a hit or two or three or whatever, like those records didn't sit on the store's shelves everywhere forever. But like the song, earn nickels for the rest of your life on radio and TV and things like that.
Right.
But now we got streaming and radio's disappearing. So like the master side and the producer points are worth way more money than they were.
Yes.
For like a long tail than it used to be. Like I have records that like I did back in the day that like I never thought. I used to joke around like I'll have like songs that you would call a hit, and I would never gonna recoup my producer. I'm never gonna see producer point income. Like standing behind $1 million budgets, so like crossed across the whole album, and I only did one song. Like all those deals from back then, and now these songs have hundreds of millions of streams.
Yeah, they're landing.
Like you're like, oh my god! And that retro to record one concept, it's crazy. I mean, streaming is just like opening the floodgates.
I have a question about that. It's been like simmering in there because you guys are all like legal, like label people, producers, and I'm thinking like what I do is promote live music.
Right.
So we didn't talk at all about like what the requirements are once you're signed or you produce music or it's out there. Are you getting all those streams? The label or the producer pushing it out, making the artist perform live.
Right.
How important is that in this whole picture? Or is it less important?
To play live?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's, once again, genre specific.
If
they're good live, they should play live.
Absolutely.
If people want to come see them, go.
I mean, there's a whole other world of information. Like I see artists that are out there and they're selling out like 2,000, 2,500 cap, venues, and they're not making the money that you think they're making. There's so many people. There's so many ways that the
And the drinks.
And the yeah.
Consumption
You know,
culture,
there's
it's a thing.
but like you need to get out there and play. I mean, like this notion that like all of your money is on the road is kind of fading. Like it's really expensive to really do that properly. But yeah.
Going back to catalog sales, I think if you're selling your catalog to buy a boat or like a bigger house, like it's probably the wrong reasons.
Yeah. If a car is anywhere in the like that was the '50s thing. Like Chess Records used to give Chuck Berry, instead of giving him like $200,000-$300,000, they'd give him a Cadillac. That this is like classic. Like a car is the last thing you ever want.
So the purchasee of the catalog, their mentality is okay. They are looking to make money, so they should have a plan to reinvent,
find more value.
classic albums and
I don't think a lot of them are really doing that well. Just
maintain.
I think what you said, like a lot of them are just hoping that if they audit, they find a couple of $1 million bucks that the artist didn't realize they collected.
You increase the revenues by 20%.
Unless that's their business
becomes a
to
9.
reinvent and bring
there
out
are some people that have the capability.
a remastered version of a classic album.
Or you'll see like people that have acquired a catalog pitching a movie about one person.
So is there a way to sign the contract to sell your catalog and then still have some creative control of how it's used, or you relinquish that completely?
Every deal is different.
Yeah.
It depends. Like I'm sure Bob
Okay.
Dylan and Paul Simon, when they sell something for $400-500 million, have a negotiation.
Some deals want the people to stay involved because they've been administering Driving Valley for this catalog and creating, having the creative vision for it this whole time. So
Okay.
I have a question because it involves Taylor Swift, and my wife will murder me. But her sound-alike records, her re-records.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm mystified because I put them back to back. They're so damn close, and I know that it's Scooter and whatever. Why isn't everybody doing that? If she's not getting
A lot
in
of times
trouble-
you're not allowed to.
there's
Some-
re-record
Well, she's
restrictions.
not allowed to.
No, there's re-record restrictions and deals, and her
Yeah.
re-record restriction has expired.
Is it simply that it
A lot of
expired?
times,
Because
yeah.
some of those records are, usually re-record deals are not 6 years,
Could be
5
5
years.
years
I
post-time.
mean,
None of them.
Also
don't
expensive.
get me wrong.
I mean,
I love that
yeah.
she did it, and I love
Yeah,
that
she has
she
the
did it.
money
she has
to
the money
go in.
to
She has the
not-
resources to do
Yeah.
all of it, handle any lawsuits.
A lot of
She
the catalog
she will
buyers are
crush
not
Just to re-record,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
get everyone
Was that-
back
The
in the
catalog
studio.
buyers are now
Exactly,
getting
it's
new
studio
like,
time.
perpetuity.
Everything that
You
goes
can
into
never-
recording
I
an
know, but
album
they-
to
they
begin
paid
with,
$300
to then
million
do it
for this,
again.
and she
Yeah,
re-record-
most
But
artists
Now,
She's
say
gonna
she's
drop
gonna
the
buy
last
that
one.
for
She-
600.
Streamed again.
What's that?
Exactly.
They ended
Right.
up breaking all these records
gonna buy
again,
back.
so she maybe made it back from
Yeah.
streaming
She doesn't need to, man.
royalties.
She did, but not every artist would necessarily.
Exactly, yeah.
So I have
Not
another
everyone can
question
do it.
about
But
the
it's-
audience, because I'm like, again, you guys are industry people. Now those fans, those Taylor
So
Swift
good.
fans, do they actually look to, because they love her?
Yes,
Yeah.
I think her fans support
Her fan
whatever
base
Her
she
fans
wants
won't
them
listen
to
to
do.
the original
Yes,
record.
that's my
anymore.
question.
Yes, my
They
daughter
stop.
That's my
Yes.
question.
They literally Taylor's
know.
version,
They-
Taylor's
Yes.
version, Taylor's
Yeah.
version.
And then
That
there's
is it.
all this
Okay.
like all these rumors and
Yeah.
and they believe
She's got an army.
she's
Yeah.
dropping like a little hint here and a little hint there of what song or what album is coming
Yeah.
next. And I
There's
mean,
one
it's,
left.
Easter eggs.
it's
There's
a
one left.
huge. It's all I
She's
hear
done
about
them all.
them.
Same with me. My wife loves her. Yeah, it's.
But it's a huge thing for them, and they eat it up, and they're very loyal. She's a very
Swifties.
loyal. Yeah.
Your question was about mergers and acquisitions, and we spoke to the catalog side of it, but I do want to speak to major labels acquiring so many independents, and a lot of distributors are being, like independent distributors are being purchased, and the majors are trying to kind of aggregate and build their catalog that way. I get nervous about that. I like to see I like to see the universe be as broad as possible. I like for there to be a lot of players, and so whenever there's kind of a feeding frenzy in that way, I'm like, I know it's great for people that are selling at times, but it does make me feel like the universe is going to get a lot more homogeneous, and all of these people now have to fall into the same lines, and so the creative things they were doing as distributors they can no longer do because they fall under these corporate policies. So that stuff
I totally agree.
does make me a little nervous. But
So you're worried about like
It
it's
is
turning in
happening.
like it's good Walmart. You know, it's like it just
when you
becomes
find out
three options.
when you find out your juice bar is owned by McDonald's, you know what I mean? Like it's like
Hey.
this is like you want these indie labels and indie distributors to exist. Maybe they'll just make room for more and more and more.
I'm happy for them to
Yeah.
make money, but I do
Yeah.
worry
Yeah.
about that.
Well, it feels like, you know, it's interesting if you look at the history of the record business. Like there have always been, you know, it's like in the 50s it was like Columbia, and then it was like Specialty and VJ, and you know, Blue. Like there are always these little, and then they would get bought, and you know, like even Atlantic in the late 60s, they were owned by a company that owned parking garages, the Kinney Parking Corporation. Then it became, you know, WEA, and it became Warner Music Group. It was like, I think it, you know,
these indies that are getting bought almost seem like they're a franchise
you
from
think?
the top three, because again you have three,
Yeah.
and then you have, you know, under Warner Atlantic you've probably got, I don't know how many smaller
Right.
companies.
Yeah.
They all seem to be little franchises for this big, you know.
Like funnel, like
Do
franchise
you think it
funnels.
just specifically ask you? Do you think it just goes through periods of doing this?
I
where
do.
Yeah,
I do.
It's just like an expand and
Buying
contract.
distros is just like you said, buying up all the labels. When
Yeah.
Sub Pop got bought by this, it's just they're just called distros now.
Right,
They're just labels that do less,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting bought by the bigger labels who also do less.
All right, last question, and feel free to take time and think about this because it's, I think, a little bit challenging. What song best describes our conversation this evening?
Ooh. Oh.
Think about it.
Oh.
And I'm gonna ask the two that left. Alina.
Don't stop believing.
Please, no.
I wouldn't know what song would. I was hoping you were saying like what song encapsulates your love of music, or what song.
I'm gonna say Old Town Road because Little Nas X represents virality, and then he proved that he's like a real artist and wrote like really great songs and did more than one, and he's a major label act and all that. But I think it kind of checks a lot of those boxes.
It's a good one.
Sounds cheesy, but beautiful people. Came to my mind first.
Take your time. No pressure.
I like what he said. I'm not going to top that. I don't have an
No,
answer.
you
I mean,
gotta-
I'm just to say I love, you know, the song "Blue and Green" on "Kind of Blue." Like I don't know a song that encapsulates the conversation we had, but you just nailed it. So I will co-sign Shep's answer.
How about if it's like just like it has no relationship to this, but it's the first song you thought of?
Yeah, right. Popped in your head.
Take Me to the River. I guess it's like, I think of like the Talking Heads did it, right? But then
Yeah.
it was written by
It's an Al Green too.
Al Green. That's the first thing that came into my head.
Although with Tyler the Creator, Sticky, just because I feel like a lot of these issues are very sticky
Ah,
and have,
Good.
you know, plus I like that song. So.
I have another one. Anxiety.
Yes.
By
That's a good one.
Which sampled Go Jays.
That's a good one.
Which also sampled the
5 other songs.
5 other songs. It dates back to some folk. I was
And
reading
it's an even
yeah.
song, isn't it?
Sorry, I'm so glad you said that
rapper?
because
It's
that
a
comes
Brazilian
across
guitar
my
Brazilian
rapper.
guitar player, but then it goes back to Mary had it goes back to like a
There's
nursery
a
rhyme,
nursery rhyme, a
and then
Brazilian
before that, and
guitarist,
before that,
and-
it was even before the nursery rhyme. It was something
I'm
else.
so glad you said that because it comes across my Instagram, like when I'm
So
scrolling.
AI would have
I'm
pulled
like,
that one
it
out.
sounds so
Ripped all those
familiar.
things.
Yeah, that's
It's
it's
a Gautier, right?
yeah. What you would have known from about a decade or 15 years. I think it was 2010, 2011.
Yeah.
That one, but then
Right.
that
And
samples
Kimber.
from
Wow.
the.
That's actually the first song I thought of. But I thought
Another
of it.
one-hit wonder.
Yeah, and she can sing her ass
She was
off.
on Warner, right?
Kimbra, who does the duet with him. She had
Yeah.
hits,
Yeah.
one hit wonder in this country. She had hits in other countries.
Sleepy Hollow? Is that who
She's a Warner's act.
Was, sorry.
The Dochi song, is that with Sleepy Hollow? I'm trying to think of
Oh,
the
I'm trying to
Oh.
remember who. Yeah.
I'd say Dire Straits, Money for Nothing.
Yeah.
What's
All
yours?
right. Yeah, what's yours?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't really thought about it. I just thought
Chop
it was a good
chop?
question.
Me neither.
What would your daughter say the Taylor Swift song that's applicable in this case?
Well, it's funny because my daughter is obsessed with Taylor Swift and my son is obsessed with Eminem.
Oh,
Very
wow.
different house.
Do they
Yeah.
fight? Just-
Yeah, they will do like who's better, who's better.
Did
Oh.
Eminem and Taylor Swift
But-
like each other? Or
No, I thought that.
They
I think
have
I think there was beef at one point.
Yeah,
There's not
there was.
anymore. But I will say
It seems like there
that
should be beef, right?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
I've
seem-
learned.
I think older M though would be like, she's okay.
I've learned a lot about Eminem and Taylor Swift and who they are as people, and I'm actually happy that both of my kids have idols like that because I think Eminem has.
They're both so
he has
good.
turned
Our
into a
parents would not
very
have said
good.
that about
Yeah.
Eminem at the
No,
time
but
of
he's
the
turned
world.
into a really good person.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
think
is.
his daughter had a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
It's
and
just
I
so funny
think
because he was
it's
so
great.
controversial,
Yes,
right?
Yeah.
right. When we were kids.
I mean, he
It's like
literally
killing
had
everybody
a
in every
song
song.
lyric about like beating the crap out of a friend of mine, and
Right.
it actually cracked me. It was a song he wanted to strangle Moby, and I just was like,
yeah.
all right.
yeah, but he's. I mean,
I don't know that one.
Yeah, he had a beef.
It was a magic.
Yeah,
Did-
I was on Eminem's side. I
Wait.
Moby was a
What do you have
pain in the
against
ass.
I think
against
Eminem's
Moby?
I don't
I
know what it
love
was,
him.
but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
they had a
They had a beef.
beef. I don't know.
Who was that?
Moby and Eminem.
Oh, Moby's like a pain in the ass, and he tried
Easy to get
to
picked
be
on.
clever with Eminem.
So
and
this
Eminem.
is your friend. You're
Yeah,
saying.
what's that? What's that?
So this is your friend.
Moby. Well, we had the same manager, and no, he's not. No, he would be so happy that I'm saying this because he
My
was
friend Moby.
wrong. My friend Moby was a schmuck, and you can keep this in the thing. No, he was wrong. He was wrong.
That should be the name of this.
And
article, by the way.
no, to
Moby
his
was
credit,
his
he went through sobriety, and I think he would never have done what he did if he wasn't like
yeah,
going
he
through the
annoyed a
period.
lot of people, didn't he?
That was his thing. So that's
Yeah.
why
Was it
I would be out with him. I'd be like,
About
wrap it
that?
up, wrap it up, wrap it up.
Just giving you a
Yeah,
hard.
nice guy, very bright guy.
Made good
So is Eminem. Yeah,
Yeah,
That's close
he's-
enough to
I
an
mean,
answer. I guess.
And very smart, Eminem.
Super smart.
Yeah.
you say that like you're surprised. I mean,
I was
like,
surprised.
don't
No,
be so
I
surprised.
was. I mean, yeah. I didn't think of him that way when I was a kid, and when he was.
Mine was
I love
Moby.
movie immediately.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't you can't freestyle like that.
Like
on
Right.
the,
beat,
of course.
like-
yeah. lyrics.
So this is such a funny conversation, and it's kind of full circle, right? Because when
Well, sure,
Eminem
right.
came out, he was public enemy number one for parents, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
really?
it was because you thought about what
Yeah.
you knew about him was that he was a bad guy, and
Right.
so, we see a lot about these people, and we never know what they'll turn into. So we're learning a lot about these artists when it's really raw, but they shouldn't be judged for their whole lives based off
I
of
agree. I
just
there you
think
go.
people can
Yeah, he
change.
grew up. He grew up. He was a kid.
Yeah,
Very much
exactly.
grew up.
He was a kid.
Yeah.
But he did turn the corner, which is good. You know?
Yeah.
He
was
didn't
always
grow
good,
up.
though.
No.
I don't know.
No.
Sorry.
And there's a
F
song on the
minus.
tip of my tongue, and
F
I'm
minus.
I
just.
remember he was playing lots of
Okay, good call.
61. A lot.
And
I'll let you know.
to go to the hospital.
99.
Just
Yeah.
put it in the
Oh, I'm
article.
sorry.
You said
No,
F
no,
minus.
Yeah.
it's
I
like it's
Sorry?
there.
I misheard that F minus part.
Yeah.
By the way,
Justin,
Play
you
is one of my
got an
favorite albums
Wow.
ever. It's
Song that
it
encompasses
stays on my
everything.
Moby's album, Play.
Oh, Play, yeah.
It's like on my it never leaves. Is it just like
ACDC Money Talks.
love it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
yours?
great record. That's
Yeah.
one I would.
That's a good one.
Which one did you work on?
Or A Long Way to the Top.
I,
Take that one.
I didn't work on. We had the same manager.
Oh, with your
And I worked
manager.
on- I helped him.
What was the Tribe Called
1999.
Quest song? Industry Rule number 4008.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm not using that as my song, but
Yeah. That's a great. Yeah, that's on Low End Theory.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
You got enough footage, Justin?
Yeah.
No. You got